I was born on August 23rd, 1943, in a hospital that no living person now remembers the name of. My family, 13 of us, lived in a 3-story row house on Douglas Street in West Philadelphia. The street was so narrow that if one family parked their car out front, another wouldn't be able to get by. Our living room window was a front row seat to anything and everything that happened on our block. One of my earliest memories is a scene I witnessed through this very window. 2 white cops dragging one of my neighbors out of his home in broad daylight with everyone watching. He was an old dude, but the cops kicked him down his front steps, beating him all the time and yelling, "You black bastard! Black son of a bitch! Fucking nigger!" I was 6 years old. I remember my father was standing beside me, and I kept looking up at him, waiting for the moment he would rush outside and put a stop to it. But he had gone all stiff and silent. When the policemen finally forced the struggling man into their car, they turned around and faced the rest of us. "Any of you other niggers want any of this?" one of them asked. Most people drew down their window shades or shut their front doors. That was how it was. I don't even know what that old man did to provoke them. Maybe nothing. When it wasn't a neighborhood cop show, it was I Love Lucy. Every evening at 7 o'clock, my mother would drag our bulky television set to the front door, and a crowd of my neighbors, having lined up chairs on the sidewalk, would settle back to watch the popular shows of the day. The Honeymooners, or Amos and Andy. It didn't strike me as odd. I had no idea that my family was relatively privileged compared to others on our block, or that we were the only ones with a television. I didn't even know some folks in my neighborhood went hungry until I visited the home of my buddy Tony Marshall. We were running through the kitchen, and I must have been thirsty because I stopped to open the fridge and grabbed a cold soda, just as I would at home. But Tony pushed the door shut and stood in front of it. "We can't go in the icebox," he said. "We have to wait for dinner." He had a funny look on his face, like he was guarding something. By contrast, my mother's kitchen resembled what I imagined a hotel's food preparation area to be, with 2 or 3 people cooking and 3 or 4 others in various stages of preparing or eating meals. My mother could almost always be found standing at the stove in her long, loose-fitting smock and flat shoes. She had a short temper in the kitchen and could holler when she wanted to. But this was always forgotten when we sat down to eat because she cooked up a storm every night. To add to this carnival-style atmosphere, my father liked to bring home gallon bricks of ice cream when he was away on his long-distance truck drives. And instead of dividing it up, he would tell each of us to get a spoon. Then we would gather around the picnic table that he had built to accommodate us all, and everyone would just dig in and eat it as fast as they could. We were tight like that. But my real world was out on the streets with my corner boys from a gang called the Coast. They drafted me when I was 11 years old on a hot summer afternoon in 1954. I was messing around in the schoolyard with some of my buddies when the huge double-service gates swung open and a group of about 20 guys walked in. They were a little older than us, 12 or 13, but unlike us, they were already gang members. So their presence was intimidating. They surrounded us in a loose circle and posed the question we'd been expecting. "You box?" My brother Arthur had been preparing me for this moment for years. For as long as I can remember, he'd explained that boxing was a way of testing friends and foes alike. There was no getting around this. If you couldn't hold your own in the ring, you'd be beaten up. If you did well, you won the respect of your peers.